Good afternoon, good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please take special care of the fact Pay special attention to the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to JRC's so-called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article, share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is very much advised. Alright, where we left off. Impact on the affected entity. Again, I don't care. The JRC should have been closed a long damn time ago. Their history is they committed atrocities in California. California kicked them out. They committed atrocities in Rhode Island. Rhode Island kicked them out. Massachusetts has allowed their insanity to go on year after year, decade over decade. I hope that they choke over the loss of the funds to send these kids to programs that know what they're doing. Sorry. Not sorry at all, actually. The affected entity could keep individuals at its own facility and move them to alternative therapy. No, they can't. These folks are not skilled in alternative therapy. They have already made quite clear that they believe positive behavioral reinforcement is a theory instead of the standard of care that it actually is. And you want these individuals to continue to look after these kids. Are you smoking crack? Are you smoking crack? Because that sounds like a real druggy idea. These kids need to be gotten the hell out of there and put in places that know what they're doing. Point blank, period. But we'll go over it anyways. I guess they have to say this, but Mother of God, the GED device is just the beginning of the insanity that they get up to at the JRC. That's why we need a full-scale federal investigation done on this place. Because the GED device is just the beginning. The food contingent program, the bizarre behavioral rehearsal lessons, the sleep deprivation. The list goes on and on and on. These individuals need the hell out of there, both those on the device and those who are not on the device. They need to essentially remove everyone and let that place serve as some sort of museum to the insanity that these people got up to so that we don't forget again and let it rise in an even another form. Just my opinion. But, yeah. According to the 2022 report by the ABAI, 2/3 of enrollees are enrolled in programs that do not use the device. Yeah, legitimately everybody else. But they are still forced with the bizarre behavioral rehearsal lessons, the food contingency program, and all the other insane things that they get up to at the JRC. I know that may not necessarily be the FDA's priority. I understand that. But for the love of God, what else do you all need before a full federal investigation is finally conducted on this place? For the love of God, you would say, well, a kid have to die. Well, I'm sorry, folks, but there have already been 6 dead kids and still nothing. You know, so much for their alternative therapies, right? Based on the information from the state of Massachusetts, we anticipate that the reimbursement received by the affected entity for each individual who stays at the facility would remain unchanged. Of course. What's going to be less expensive? Not what's going to be best for us. What is less expensive? Dear God. However, we lack information about the cost to provide alternative care to the 51 individuals currently subject to the device. Providing alternative therapy is not necessarily more costly than the existing option at the affected facility. Then make them actually put people there that are experienced in those alternative actual standard of care types of programs and get the people who are in there now the hell out, because that's the only way I could possibly see for those kids to stay there and not still be at risk. Just saying. Although we do not know what alternative therapies the affective entity would offer, nothing. You get nothing. You get bizarre behavioral rehearsal lessons, the starvation treatment, and sleep deprivation. We don't allow these things to happen to war criminals, but apparently, if you're neurodivergent, well, we're expendable, right? Sorry. One study found that the dialectical behavioral therapy, also known for folks who are not used to this lingo as DBT, a potential alternative therapy costs about $219,918 per year in 2022 dollars, with the most expensive treatment costing around $239,994 per year. Again, out here in Missouri, it wouldn't be the school districts that would eat that cost. It would be Medicaid and Medicare, depending on where you are, because they handle both students as well as elderly. Our programs out here tend to follow the entire lifespan of the consumer. So usually it's Medicare and it's Medicaid. Yes, even in school age kids that tend to eat those costs. In this case, it would probably be the JRC and the district schools. But again, I would emphasize, unless you remove every single staff member that is there right now and replace them with folks who are fully certified in the current standard of care practices and programs, then you need to just bite the bullet and get these kids to alternative facilities. To me, that is the only correct answer here. Nevertheless, the affected facility would likely incur some transition costs as they remove residents to alternative care. The transition costs could include additional professional expertise, training for existing staff, the administration of additional drugs, and possibly the hiring of additional staff. I would say fire them all and put in new staff who know what they're doing. We'll start with the head, Miss Head Alkalite of Dr. Israel's bullshit, Glenda Cook. Top to the bottom down. Fire everyone, put people there who are actually competent in this field and are well versed in these other treatment programs, and get somebody in there who actually knows how to conduct a proper full behavioral assessment. Full stop. Full stop. Or we're going to be coming back here again over the issues of people being starved to death and abused through behavioral rehearsal lessons. I know FDA, that's not particularly anything you're going to have to deal with, but for the love of God, could one of you please grab the folks that handle federal investigations and at least help us finally start the federal investigation that should have been done decades ago? Just saying. The compliance period of 180 days for those devices currently in use may reduce some of the incremental cost of this rule by a modest amount. It's always about the money or the neurotypicals and never about us. Believe me, we're aware. The only real answer I see here is every single kid needs to be gotten the hell up out of that school and be put into facilities and treatment programs from individuals who are certified, worked in this field in years, and are very intimately familiar with the other treatment programs out there, instead of continuing to keep them in this hellscape. Okay? Now, let's talk about PTSD before we close out. Do you really think it is a good idea, if you fear PTSD of these kids, to leave them in the facility where the device was being used on them? But what if we switch them to alternative treatments? They're still there in the place where they were being tortured and horrifically abused. You have them surrounded by the same surroundings. Ask any of us who suffer from PTSD how bad those types of triggers can be. Do the right thing. Get someone to do a deep dive from the federal level on the school. Close it down and get these kids to folks who know what they're doing. It should not be a massive ask. But again, here we are. We're going to go ahead and close on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. You know the drill, folks. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you all again in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.